doing very well in your job and still be quietly burning out. And I don't mean falling apart burnout. I mean the kind where you are still competent and respected, you're still showing up, and yet something in you has started to just thin out. That version is harder to spot because from the outside, you look fine. And if you're a high-functioning woman in leadership, you've probably been fine for a very long time. A few months ago, I was in a parent meeting for a student I care deeply about. She is one of my absolute favorites. She's sharp, the kind of 8th grader who sees the whole chessboard before anyone else does. She also has a temper, and I can relate. I was expelled in 8th grade, so I recognize a certain kind of fire when I see it. This meeting was supposed to be about building a safety plan, the right kind of meeting, the necessary kind. Instead, it shifted. The support team, comprised of the social worker, therapist, case manager, a relative, everybody began making assumptions about who I was, about whether I cared, about how seriously I was taking things. There was that tone. If you've worked in leadership long enough, you know the tone. And what bothered me most wasn't even the condescension. It was that they were underestimating what this girl is capable of, and she is capable of a lot. I could feel myself reacting, not so anyone could see, but deep in my body. Normally, I would push back. Normally, I would advocate more strongly. Normally, I would challenge the narrative, and instead, I went quiet. Not angry quiet, not dramatic quiet, numb quiet. Our school psychologist was there. We looked at each other. We both understood what was happening, and we both agreed to move forward with what the team wanted, just so the meeting could end. I walked out of that room and I hated how passive I had been. That bothered me far more than any tone. Later that evening, I sat with it, and what I realized was uncomfortable. It wasn't weakness, and it wasn't incompetence. It wasn't that suddenly I was losing my ability to lead. It was burnout, not collapse burnout, not dramatic, I can't take it anymore burnout, competent burnout, the kind where you are still performing, and that's what makes it dangerous, because nothing externally forces you to stop. But internally, you are conserving energy in ways you don't even notice. And if I wasn't careful, that conversation was going to change how I show up. And that to me is not acceptable. This work is too important. I support children, adolescent children, and I have to be at my best. For high-functioning women, especially those of us with ADHD brains, burnout rarely looks like chaos or drama. It looks like you stop challenging something you would have challenged last year. You decide it's not worth the fight. You let small things slide that matter to you. You choose efficiency over conviction because you're tired. You still get your work done. You still answer the emails. You still show up prepared, but you are no longer fully there. It's not dramatic. It's subtle erosion. And subtle erosion can go on for years. If you are in leadership, you are making decisions constantly. Micro decisions, tone adjustments, risk assessments, safety evaluations. And if you have an ADHD brain, that executive sorting costs more. You are scanning context, adjusting language, anticipating reactions, and regulating your own emotional response while managing everyone else's. And because you are competent, you can do it, but the cost accumulates. Add emotional labor, add being the reliable one, add long days, add the internal narrative that you should be able to handle this. Eventually, your nervous system does what nervous systems do. It protects you. And sometimes protection looks like numbness, not collapse, just quiet withdrawal from the fight. And here's the thing. I don't actually want to quit my job. I don't want to burn the system down. I don't want to run away to a cabin and knit for the rest of my life, though some days that does sound appealing. What I want is to show up as myself, fully, advocating when it matters, engaged, clear. That meeting scared me a little because I saw the early version of what happens when high-functioning burnout goes unchecked. You don't implode, you dilute. And dilution, not delusion, and dilution is harder to notice. So I didn't make dramatic changes, I made structural ones. Number 1, remove one category of decision. I simplified my wardrobe. I know it sounds so superficial, and yes, I simplified my wardrobe. Not because I want to be French, not because I am trying to be iconic, though maybe I am secretly. I simplified my wardrobe because I needed fewer negotiations and fewer decisions before 6 a.m. 3 pairs of trousers, 10 different sweaters, 5 blazers, on rotation. That small act of constraint, it's such a tiny thing, gave me back mental space I didn't realize I was spending. And it's not about the clothes. It's about where you are hemorrhaging micro decisions. Find that place and remove half of it. 2, decide your work hierarchy once. I stopped pretending everything at work was equally urgent because it isn't. Safety, instruction, student and staff welfare. Everything else can just queue. When you rank once, you stop renegotiating priorities all day long. That reduces cognitive friction. 3, protect recovery before collapse. This doesn't mean a vacation or dramatic sabbatical plans. 2 evenings a week, I stop working at 6 p.m. I take walks without my phone. I keep things silent in the morning. You cannot run a high output brain without recovery. And if you don't schedule it, burnout will schedule it for you, usually at the worst possible time. If you are competent and tired, you are not weak. If you are still performing but feel thinner than you used to, and I'm not talking weight, that is data. Burnout does not always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up as a meeting where you don't fight the way you normally would. It's not a character flaw, it's a signal. And signals are useful. That meeting didn't break me. It clarified something I didn't want to admit. Burnout in high-functioning women doesn't look like collapse. It looks like quiet self-erasure. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I say this all the time, but it is true. Next week, I'm talking about overfunctioning and why high-functioning women overfunction and pay for it because burnout doesn't just appear. It grows out of habits we've been praised for. If you recognize yourself in this, stay with me. And if this is a conversation you need right now, subscribe. We're going to take this apart one layer at a time. Thank you for watching the Midlife Intelligencer, a place where high-functioning women in leadership navigate midlife, ADHD, and transitions without burnout or losing ourselves. See you next week.